Yo, it's your boy Jay Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 2, episode 35. On today's episode, I will be discussing the Mavs and the Timberwolves series and how Minnesota was able to avoid being swept last night. And following that, I'm going to talk about the Boston Celtics, how they swept the Pacers, and kind of their overall playoff run heading to the finals. And then to end this episode, I'm going to talk about Tyronn Lue, head coach for the Clippers, getting a huge payday today, all right? But before I get to all of that, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning, allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. And without him, I would not be here right now. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get straight to the point. All right. Let's start this thing off with the Mavs and the Timberwolves. All right. The Mavs lost to the Timberwolves yesterday. 105 to 100. The Mavs was up 3-0, was looking to sweep Minnesota, but Minnesota was able to avoid it by getting the W last night. Looking at the stats real quick, Anthony Edwards had 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. All right, he had a all-star caliber performance last night. And then Karl Anthony Towns, who has been pretty much absent this entire series, in terms of he hasn't been playing well, shot 27% in his first 3 games. He was able to hit 25 points last night, 9 for 13, so very efficient. But he was in foul trouble a lot. That's the only negative about his game last night. But he came to play, and Carlton Towns actually, when he has like 18 or more points, this team is 7-1. So I think he plays a huge role in this team because he can't just be Anthony Edwards. It has to be somebody else that can step up and score. And he was able to do that today. The criticism of Karl Anthony Towns has been that he shoots the ball too much. He shoots too many threes, right? He shoots too far away from the goal when he's basically a 7-footer. And when he gets mismatches against this Mavericks team, who's not too big, right? They have Derek Lively and they have Daniel Gafford. Mind you, Derek Lively didn't play yesterday, so maybe that's why he was able to attack more. But when he gets mismatches, he always settles for the shot whenever he needs to go ahead and put his shoulder down, get to the rim, and make it easy for himself. Shaq and Charles Barkley has actually criticized him about not using his size in this mismatch almost, because like I said, outside of Derek Lively and Dale Gafford, the Mavericks don't have that much size. So Carlton Towns, you would think he would be able to eat in the paint a little more than he has been, but a part of that is because he's been settling for shooting jumpers and shooting from the three. I mean, he is a shooting big man, right? But whenever you get in a series where you are one of the biggest guys on the court, hey, take advantage and get to the rim and get easy baskets like he did yesterday. His first 7 shots was all in the paint. He wasn't settling for jumpers till the end of the game when he got hot from three. He hit 2 huge threes in the fourth quarter. But other than that, he was able to get to the rim and he was very efficient last night. On the flip side, looking at the Mavs, Luca had 28 points, was 7 for 21. That's where you would say he had a bad game, but other than that, he had 15 rebounds, 10 assists. So he had a triple double, but 7 for 21 from the field, 4 for 11 from three. That is what he was doing early in the playoffs. Remember a couple episodes ago, I said Luca is not having a great playoff run right now because he's not efficient. Right, I want to see that efficient Luca. And we saw it the past couple of games against Minnesota, but last night he wasn't able to get it going like he wanted to. And then Kyrie Irving only had 16 points, 6 for 18, 1 for 6 from three. Kyrie Irving yesterday actually made a statement. He said, "This is the Super Bowl for Minnesota, but just another game for us." And that's exactly how he played, right? Like it was a Super Bowl for Minnesota, but just another game for him. The same thing with the rest of the team, the whole entire squad, the whole Mavericks team came out like we up 3-0. That's how it looked versus we're here to finish it tonight. It kind of looked like, okay, we can get comfortable now because we up 3-0. So I think that's what the mentality was yesterday versus let's go ahead and finish this thing out. Dallas, this is where I think the game was lost because Karl Anthony Towns had a good game, right? He was the X factor last night, but also Dallas had 14 turnovers, right, which led to 30 points for Minnesota. Minnesota had 15 turnovers, which led to only 15 points for Dallas. So Dallas wasn't able to capitalize off the turnovers that they created, versus Minnesota was able to capitalize off the turnovers and get 30 points off of that. So I think that's also where the game was lost. But yeah, last night, Anthony Edwards showed his all-around game by getting 9 assists. Also had 6 turnovers, but that's what happens when you're the primary ball handler, right? You're going to have turnovers, but he had more assists than he did turnovers, which is always a good thing. Then the 10 rebounds, he been crashing boards this whole entire playoff run. And the 29 points helped a lot. He actually almost had the real dagger when he hit that he spent and then had a step through, a clutch step through at the end of the game. But then Luca hit that huge and 1 3, so it kind of shadowed what he had just did. But he basically hit the dagger last night, so he was able to put the ball in his hands and say, "Get out the way, let me get the job done," which he has not done this entire series. Anthony Edwards last night was the first night where I said, "Okay, he got his swag back," because the first 3 games, if you realize, he is like he was scared. It's like Luca put fear in his heart almost, because when he went against KD, he was attacking KD. He was attacking KD, talking trash. Right? He was flexing, showboat, all of that in KD face. And KD is one of the vets, right? He's somebody that's been here, done that. And then he goes against Jokic, right? The MVP this year, and also the defending champ, and he took it to them. He took it to Denver, and he wasn't scared. He still had the swag. Yes, that series went 7 games, but throughout the series, Anthony Edwards had it, right? He just had that look in his eye. The first 3 games in this Dallas series, he has not had that, and I think it's because a big part of it to me is because of that number 77 on the other side, Luka Doncic. I think he knows. Look, I can't be flexing around him, because he gonna take it personal. He gonna bust you in your mouth whenever you talk trash to him, or if you try to get in his face. So when you try to do that, he not gonna defer. He's not gonna step back like KD did, right? He didn't necessarily step at Jokic, but he stepped at KD, and KD was like, "Man, you got it, bro." Luka not gonna do that. So I think that had a lot to do with why he played the way he did the first 3 games. But I think yesterday that whole I'm not trying to get swept mentality crept in. I think that's why they was able to pull out this W yesterday. But the next question that I want to, but the question that I want to answer, really, that was just a little recap over the game. But the question that I want to answer is, do the Timberwolves have a chance, right? Do they have a chance to be the first team to ever come back from being down 0-3 in a series? Heck no. Heck no, they don't have a chance. And I'm tired of watching all the sports shows today, and even seeing people on social media saying, "Oh, Timberwolves in 7, Timberwolves in 7." So this way y'all trying to tell me that if Timberwolves lose 3 games, right? One, two, three, 2 at home, 1 on the road. And the discussion was, okay, Kyrie and Luca is one of the greatest backcourts ever. Right? The discussion was Anthony Edwards disappeared. The discussion was the Timberwolves are done. They win one game, and all of a sudden the confidence is back up to where they're gonna win 3 straight games. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. They're gonna beat that greatest backcourt. They're gonna beat them 3 straight times and come back and win this series. Come on now, let's make it make sense. Like, let's keep the same energy we've been having. One game should not change how you feel about this series. That's just not how it works. Now, if they win game 5, then you have every right to believe that, oh, this thing about to go 7, and they might win it. You have every right to believe that, but I don't even think it's gonna go 6. I think it's gonna go 5. And absolute worst case scenario, it'll go 6, and Dallas will end it at home, because you would think Minnesota has that momentum going back home, where Dallas has won 2 games at. Right, so let's not act like this next game is just an automatic W. Like, they're going to win this game because they didn't win the first 2. So with Minnesota at home, you would think that they would go home and take care of business. But if worst case scenario goes back to Dallas, and Dallas will finish it, it's not going 7. I can guarantee you that. So because it's not going 7, they don't have a chance to win this series, because it has to go 7 for them to win this series. I got it going 5. All right, I got Dallas winning this next game, because I believe that, for one, Derek Lively, who is not a great player, but he has been playing great throughout this playoff run. He was not there yesterday. He did not play. So mind you, that paint was open. Remember how I talked about how Cat was able to drive and get to the basket? Well, Derek Lively not being there, it kind of opened the paint up a little bit. Yes, Daniel Gafford is there, but it's different when Gafford and Lively is there, or it's different when Lively's down there. So I think that Cat saw that, and he was able to attack, versus if Lively's there, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be as easy. And then on top of that, I do think that Luka and Kyrie had a bad game. Both of them was shooting their field goal, their field goal, their makes and their misses look like tour dates. right? If you anybody want to go see a Drake or anybody in concert, look at their tour dates and tell me that they don't look like like for example, Luca went 7 for 21. All right, and Kyrie went 6 for 18. Those are tour dates, right? That's how bad they was shooting. All right, so to me, I think that it was a mixture of no Derek Lively plus Luca and Kyrie had a bad game. It's not like Ant and Karl Anthony Towns outplayed Kyrie and Luca when Kyrie and Luca had a good day. They had bad days. They have bad shooting nights, and that's going to happen every now and then. But I have not lost any confidence. I wanted it to be a sweep because I didn't want the Timberwolves to even get a taste of hope, right? I just didn't want them to because you see after all these games, they ain't been cracking jokes, nothing like that. But yesterday they win the game. You see Ant at the podium cracking jokes at the press game at the post game conference. He had they cracking jokes and everything. I just don't like seeing that because I wanted them to just go home. And not only that, but I wanted Dallas to get the same amount of rest as Boston. But now that I think about it, maybe Dallas not getting that much rest might benefit them more than Boston just sitting around for basically a week and a couple of days. That's how long their break is until the final. So it might have been a good thing for Dallas for this thing to go 5. And maybe even for it to go 6, just so that they can continue to keep playing. Because sometimes it's better to keep playing and stay in that rhythm versus playing then stopping for a week and expecting to pick up where you left off. But I don't think it's going 6. I think it's going 5. I'm here to say it. Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Aquaman. All right, Dallas and 5. All right, but like I said, worst case scenario, it might go 6, and it's going to end in Dallas. So there's no game 7. There will be no game 7, which means Timberwolves have no chance of winning this series. All right. So it's gonna be a quick episode. All right. So actually, no, I'm sorry. The Celtics sweeps the Pacers, and they also will on the way to sweeping the Pacers beat Miami in 5. They beat Cleveland in 5, and then they just beat the Pacers in 4. Now they're headed to the NBA Finals. Jalen Brown won the Eastern Conference Finals player. The player of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think I screwed that up, but he won the award. All right, for Conference Finals MVP. That's what he won. I could not get it together. Eastern Conference Finals MVP is what he won, and a lot of people kind of it's like an eye raiser almost, like eyebrow raiser. Make your eyebrows go up because the best player on the team, and this is something I've been thinking about over the past couple of weeks. If you was drafting the team, right? And it was Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum on the board. He had to pick one. We're all picking Jason Tatum. Nobody is picking Jalen Brown over Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is the one that's in the top 5 debate. He's in the top 10 debate right now in the NBA, not of all time, but he's in that top 10, top 5 debate. Jalen Brown is not, simply. All right, so I think that we all would look at that and say, okay, I'm taking Jason Tatum. But when you watch the Celtics play, who is the best player on the team? Who does it look like is the best player on the team? When I say that, I mean like the Celtics. I feel like when I watch them play, they try to get the ball to Jalen Brown. Like they want Jalen Brown to have the ball in his hands. Versus sometimes they pass up on Jason Tatum a couple times, and you see it not only when you're watching it. When you look at the stat sheet, Jalen Brown takes more shots than Jason Tatum consistently. It's not like every now and then. He's consistently taking more shots than Jason Tatum. So it's like the players think that Jalen Brown is the best player on the team. Coach Joe Mazzulla, head coach for the Boston Celtics, he thinks Jalen Brown is the best player on the team. Because if he didn't, he would address it. Hey, we need to get the ball to our best player a little bit more. But they're consistently trying to get the ball to Jalen Brown. And Jalen Brown, I think them paying him $300 million when he's supposed to be a second option, they paid him like a first option. And I think that went to his head. And you see, he thinks he's the best player on the team. So not only does the teammates think that, the head coach think that, but Jalen Brown think he's the best player on the team. It's obvious. The shots he take, the amount of shots he take, it's like he believes that that's his team. But we all know Jason Tatum is the better player. So that's why I'm so confused when it comes to this Boston team, because it's like I'm watching Jalen Brown as the number 1 option, Jason Tatum as the number 2. But we all know Jason Tatum is the better player. But we look at teams and look at that number 1 player and the number 2 player. the number one player is better. For example, Luka and Kyrie. Luka's better than Kyrie. We look at LeBron and AD. LeBron's better than AD. When you look at Steph and Clay, this is prior to Clay falling off. Steph was the number one guy because Steph was better than Clay. Right? When KD went to Golden State, KD was the number one guy. Steph was number two. KD was better than Steph. That's just how it works. The number one option is better than the second option. But why with Boston, the second option is better than the number one option? Like that always just kind of messed with my brain a little bit. And Jaylen Brown ended up winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And they actually averaged, if you look at they both averaged 30 points. What Jaylen Brown averaged like 29.8, I believe, and then Jason Tatum averaged 30.2. So it was close. They both averaged 30, but you look at the rest of the stat sheet, Jason Tatum filled it up. Jaylen Brown did not. Jaylen Brown is just a pure scorer. He wants to go and score. He's not going to do anything else. Versus Jason Tatum, he's going to help you in every aspect of the game. But because we're in a league now where scoring is all that's all everybody cares about is scoring. Who can score? Right. That's why Draymond Green doesn't get the props and the credit that he deserves when he fills up the entire stat sheet. When he has a 9, 9, and 8 kind of game, right? 9 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. We don't really give that any credit because we want to see the guy that has 35 and 6. We want to see the guy that has 45 and 2. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in such a scoring dominant league, Jaylen Brown is looked at as the best player on the team because he is that guy that's going to go and get a bucket regardless. So he at least going to try to. We've seen times where he tried to get the bucket and he just can't. Remember last year he couldn't go left, but he was steady going left trying to get a shot off. So overall with this Boston Celtics team, I I know the Mavericks are going to win. So it's going to be the Mavs versus the Boston Celtics, and I don't want to give my finals preview right now. I want to do it on the episode before the finals. But going into this finals, I'm looking at Boston, and I'm saying, okay, y'all beat Miami with no Jimmy Butler, and I honestly believe wholeheartedly I would have came up here and said it. I would have picked Miami to beat Boston if Jimmy Butler was healthy. I swear I would have did it, but Jimmy Butler wasn't, so they couldn't get the job done. So you played a team with no Jimmy Butler, basically no problem. The game that Miami did win, Miami just shot the lights out, and Boston did not. Boston had an off night, Miami had a hot night, and they was able to get a win. Against Cleveland, you saw that Cleveland stole the game, and Cleveland lost the game in game three. So Boston was up 2-1, and then Donovan Mitchell was out for the rest of the series. Boston wins the next two games. And then against the Pacers, in the very first game, the Pacers gave away that game. As much as y'all want to give the Boston Celtics credit, the Pacers gave that game away. This is the game where they threw the turnover and Jaylen Brown hit the buzzer. Like, they gave that game away. Then the second game, Boston just blew them out. Then this third game in Indiana with no Tyrese Halliburton, the Pacers gave away the game again. Andrew Nembhard had a turnover at the end of the game that led to some points, and the game was over. And then in game four, they also gave the game away, a turnover. I think Siakam had a turnover this time, and then Boston was able to go score. So three of those games was given to Boston, right? So when they play a team like Dallas, Dallas not going to give you a game. They're not going to give away a game. I promise you that, because they have two of the best closers in the league. So how is Boston going to be able to respond to that? Respond to a team that not going to crack under pressure, right? A team that's 100% healthy, has their stars, right? I'm curious to see how Boston's going to respond. So I got Dallas winning everything, winning the finals this year. I just kind of basically gave away my finals preview, but the Celtics to me just haven't made me scared, haven't made me fear them because of not only the path that they've gone on, but how they've gone about that path. Now, they would have swept Miami like they were supposed to, swept the Cavaliers like they were supposed to, and swept the Pacers like they were supposed to because they was the overwhelming favorite in all three of those series. Then I'll be like, okay, they took care of business. They did what they were supposed to do. But I saw bad tendencies throughout every single series that makes me very, very excited, very optimistic about Dallas winning it all this year. All right. Last thing we'll talk about today, and I'm gonna get out of here, is Money Bag Lue. All right, Coach Ty Lue. He was able to sign a deal today, a long-term deal through the 2028 through 2029 season, y'all, which is $14 million per year. He is getting that bag. He went 184 and 134 in 4 seasons with the Clippers. He had the sixth best record in that 4 season span in the NBA, the sixth best stretch in NBA over those 4 seasons. And then he also led the Clippers to their first conference finals in team history, 2020 through 2021. I see a lot of people kind of reacting like, why is he getting a bag? Why is he getting so much money? He hasn't done nothing. Well, his players haven't done anything either. Mind you, he's in a bad situation. And I honestly got hopeful as a LeBron fan. I got hopeful that he would go to LA. That LA will be able to reach their hand out and grab Ty Lue. Because I was thinking, okay, Ty Lue, he knows that he's coaching Kawhi and Paul George and James Harden. Right? James Harden, who we all know in the playoffs gonna choke like he did this past year. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who's gonna be, is like a coin flip. Which one's not gonna make it through the playoffs? Which one is gonna get hurt through the playoffs? Paul George or Kawhi? Pick your poison. Right. So being on a team that's injury prone and a team that has a player like James Harden, I thought he was gonna leave. I thought he would leave so he can go and win. But money talks. And Steve Ballmer, he put that bag out there, and Ty Lue said, "I cannot refuse this offer." He went and he grabbed it. But yeah, the non-success of the Clippers has not been Ty Lue's fault, right? His team just can't stay healthy, and like I said, they brought James Harden to the team, knowing what he does in the play. It's crazy how you can go to different organizations. You can go to an organization. He went to Philly, right, and he choked in that series against Boston last year. Then teams are so eager to bring you to the, like, James Harden is known for that. He's known for choking in pivotal games in the playoffs. Not necessarily the whole entire playoffs, but in pivotal games, he's known for choking. So it's crazy how you can have that reputation and teams will still offer you money to come and play with them. Like, it's just gonna change. It don't. Last year we saw James Harden choke. This year we saw him choke again. All right. Same thing with Kawhi. They just paid Kawhi Leonard an extension. Why would you pay Kawhi when he can't stay on the court? The best ability is availability. Right? Paul George might be gone from this team following this offseason. We got to see what happens. But you re-sign Kawhi Leonard who cannot stay healthy. Like at this point, let him walk away. He ever since he's been in LA, it's been an epic fail. It just has, right? And it's because of his injuries. Like it's unfortunate, but the best ability, like I said, is availability. All right, so because your best player can't play, you have a player on the team that chokes in the playoffs when you need him most, and then you have Paul George, who we don't even know if he's gonna be there next year. But when he is here in LA, he don't perform that well in the playoffs either. Remember, they was calling him playoff P for some reason, but he has not been playoff P. All right, so I think Ty Lue deserved this because I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. I honestly believe that. But I do think that he's in a bad situation right now. He's with a team that I believe is going to be rebuilding soon. Because Kawhi's older. If they keep Paul George is older. James Harden is older. So I do think they're going to be rebuilding. But they're moving into that new building next year, and I think that's a big reason why they kept Kawhi, just to sell tickets, so they can have a big name guy in a new stadium like that. All right. But hey, congratulations, Ty Lue, for getting that bag. You deserve it. He mind y'all, he won a championship with LeBron in Cleveland when they was down 3-1 and came back and won that series. Ty Lue was a part of that masterpiece that was put together in Cleveland. All right. But that is it for today, man. I'm like I said, I wasn't gonna hold y'all long. I'm going to get up out of here. Game 5 is tomorrow night between the Mavs and the Timberwolves in Minnesota. Make sure y'all check it out. And your boy Jay Best said Mavs in 5. All right. Ant-Man, Superman, Aquaman, Spider-Man. Mavericks in 5. Right. Worst case, absolute worst case scenario. It will go 6, but it will not go back to Minnesota. So Minnesota does not have a chance to win this series. We will see Luca versus Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals, and we will see who will take the face it. Basically, I think the face of the league is on the line whenever you see a player like Jason Tatum and Luca in the finals. Whoever wins it is going to be a face of the league regardless. All right, but that is it for today, man. Much love. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay safe. Make sure y'all enjoyed the summer and enjoy basketball while we got it because it's almost gone. All right, but that's it, y'all. I'm out.